She sat beneath a ring light, her smile glowing through the haze of setting powder and filters. Just another day. Another life. Another stream of hearts and comments rolling in from strangers who felt like friends. But in the middle of that live stream, something happened. The screen stuttered. Her voice cut out. And what followed changed everything. It wasn't a glitch. It wasn't a mistake. And it wasn't the first time something had felt wrong. In a city pulsing with digital life, one broadcast would become something else entirely. Not a performance. Not content. But a countdown. They say the camera never lies. But what if it doesn't show the full story either? Behind that final live stream were warnings, whispers, and wounds that never made it to the screen. What really happened that day inside the salon is still debated. But one thing is certain. She didn't see it coming. And neither did we. This is the story of what was seen, and what was never meant to be seen. Nestled just outside Guadalajara lies a city layered in contrast. Zapopan. A place where modernity and tradition blend seamlessly, where pristine shopping plazas stand across from crumbling colonial stone. A city of light and rhythm, of ambition and art, but also of something else. A quiet, creeping tension that lives in the shadows. It's a city like many in Mexico, vibrant, growing, connected. But in 2024, it would become the epicenter of a story that captivated and horrified the world. A story born from pixels and powder, algorithms and affection. A story that ends with a young woman gone, a live stream interrupted, and a nation asking, how did we not see this coming? At just 23 years old, Valeria Márquez was many things. A daughter, a friend, a dreamer, and a rising star in the digital age. She wasn't just another TikTok creator. She had vision, a style, a story to tell. With every product she reviewed, every brow she brushed, Valeria wasn't chasing clout. She was building something. A brand, a following, a future. And in just 2 short years, she'd become one of Zapopan's most recognizable faces, online and off. But with visibility comes vulnerability. What began as admiration online slowly shifted. The likes turned to messages. The comments turned to questions. And one day, Valeria told someone close to her, I feel like I'm being watched. She brushed it off, laughed even. Zapopan was her home, her sanctuary. And the salon, her dream made real, was supposed to be safe. But what no one knew was that safety had already left the building. In March of 2024, Valeria Márquez went live one final time. What happened during that live stream would stun her viewers and leave an entire nation in silence. This isn't just a story about an influencer. This is a story about ambition, about obsession, about digital fame, and the invisible lines between audience and predator. It's about a life that burned too bright, and a darkness that waited just off camera. Over the next hours, we will take you inside the world of Valeria Márquez. The rise, the risk, the fallout. We'll explore who she really was, and who or what took everything from her. You may think you've heard this story before. You haven't. Before the cameras, before the salon, before the final live stream that would change everything, there was just Valeria. Valeria Márquez. Born in the outskirts of Guadalajara, where the homes are close, the air smells of mango and rain, and people still call neighbors vecinos like family, she was the youngest of 3 children. Her world was modest, but it was bright. Her mother, Teresa, worked in a small dental clinic. Her father, Mauricio, drove a local delivery route, 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. They weren't rich in pesos, but they were rich in tradition. Family meals, morning prayers, Sunday markets with loud music and louder laughter. And right in the middle of it all was Valeria. Wide-eyed, fast-talking, always reaching for something just outside the frame. She didn't want to be a singer, or a teacher, or a princess. She wanted to be a beautician. At 6 years old, she asked her mother for her first palette. Not crayons, eyeshadow. She'd study the faces of women in magazines, practice on her cousins, and spend hours in front of the mirror, not trying to change herself but to transform. Even back then, it was never just about makeup. It was about magic. In high school, Valeria began experimenting with eyeliner the way painters test brush strokes. Her teachers said she was quiet but focused. Her notebooks were lined with sketches, of faces, of logos, of future plans. She didn't know it then. But one day those sketches would become her brand. When TikTok arrived in Mexico, Valeria wasn't one of the first to join. She didn't know much about hashtags or viral sound trends. But one afternoon, between appointments, she filmed herself doing a brow tutorial in the back room of a nail salon where she worked part-time. It was raw, unpolished, honest. By the next morning, it had 50,000 views. By the next week, 500,000. And that was the beginning. Valeria wasn't just doing makeup, she was making people feel something. Confidence. Connection. Beauty as self-love. Her following grew fast. Then faster. And soon she had offers for brand deals, appearances, interviews. But what she wanted was her own space. Not just online. A real place. A dream she named Blossom the Beauty Lounge. She opened the doors with her savings, a line of credit, and the help of her siblings who painted the walls themselves. She wasn't just building a salon. She was building a sanctuary. For the first time, everything she dreamed of was right in front of her. She was thriving. She'd recently signed a lease for a second location. She was planning tutorials in English to expand her audience. And she had just crossed 1.2 million followers. But most importantly, she was happy. Or at least, that's what everyone believed. Not all smiles last. It's easy to smile on camera. It's easy to filter the fear. But behind the brush strokes, something had begun to shift. Messages from strangers that weren't so kind. Men showing up outside the studio claiming to be clients. Unmarked packages. Hang-up calls. And Valeria. She told no one. Or almost no one. By February of 2024, those closest to her noticed she was checking the locks more often. Closing the salon earlier. Sleeping less. But when they asked her, she'd just shake her head and say, "I'm just tired. It's nothing. I'm fine." This was Valeria Márquez, the girl behind the camera. Brilliant, beautiful, bold, but also alone. And what she didn't know was that someone was already writing a different ending to her story. If there was one place Valeria Márquez felt completely in control, it was here. Inside the pale pink walls of Blossom the Beauty Lounge. What began as a modest side room in a rented space soon became a full-service beauty hub. Lashes, brows, facials, and consultations, all curated by Valeria herself. It wasn't just a job. It was her sanctuary. Her dream built by hand, hour by hour. Her friends say Valeria lived for the details. Every booking handled with care. Every service tailored like art. No one left her chair feeling like just a client. They left feeling seen. Her days started early and ran long. Appointments from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., and still, every night she made time for her followers. TikTok lives, tutorials, skincare hacks, and perhaps most beloved, her Q&A nights. It was here where she'd open up, about products, about confidence, about fear even. But those lives also became a window that anyone could watch. From anywhere, at any time. And someone was watching. In her final week, Valeria posted 6 TikToks. 3 were beauty tutorials. 1 was a lip-sync trend. Another was a product review. And then, there was one video that felt different. She's sitting alone in the salon. There's a storm outside. She smiles, but it doesn't reach her eyes. A comment appears beneath it, anonymous. "You always look better alone." That comment was deleted a few hours later. But not by the poster. By Valeria. That week, one of her employees said she seemed distracted. Another remembered her phone vibrating non-stop. A few noticed she started keeping the door locked even during business hours. That Friday morning, the day of the live stream, Valeria opened the shop alone. No assistant. No appointments before noon. She was scheduled to go live at 11:30 a.m. A lash tutorial. Her usual Friday rhythm. What no one knew was that this live would be different. Blossom the Beauty Lounge had been Valeria's dream. A place of self-love. Of feminine power. Of beauty and belonging. But that day, it became a crime scene. And the world was watching. Friday. Late morning. Zapopan, Jalisco. It's just past 11:30 a.m. when Valeria Márquez presses the Go Live button for what would be her final time. She's poised. Calm. Hair pinned back. Tools laid out neatly beside her. The lash tray is clean. The camera is centered. The music plays faintly in the background, light, upbeat, familiar. To her followers it was business as usual. But behind the lens, time was running out. She greets her audience with a smile. Begins a tutorial, subtle lash lift techniques. The comments flood in. "You look so pretty today," smiling face with hard eyes. "Where did you get that lipstick? Can you save this live?" Everything seems routine. Until it isn't. 11:38 a.m. The audio becomes faint. A shadow moves past the storefront window. Valeria glances to the side, just for a moment. Pause. She goes back to speaking, but her tone shifts. She says quietly, "One moment, chicas. Someone's at the door." 11:40 a.m., the door opens. Someone steps inside. Tall. Neutral colors. Face blurred by anonymity. The comments section pauses again. Valeria looks up. You can see her lips move just faintly. A few viewers later claim she said, "Iris too? Are you?" But then comes the voice. Oh, direct. As if pulled from a nightmare. "Are you Valeria?" The livestream cuts out at 11:41 a.m. 47 full seconds. Nothing. And then, screaming. Not from inside the salon, but from the phones of thousands of followers across the globe. Within minutes, clips of the live are screen recorded and reposted. Within 1 hour, Valeria's name is trending. By sundown, #Justice for Valeria has over 2 million impressions. What happened inside Blossom the Beauty Lounge would soon become a national obsession. But in that moment, that single, silent moment, Valeria's world had gone still. All the ambition, all the beauty, all the light she'd created, gone in under 10 minutes. The live stream was supposed to last an hour. It didn't even make it to 12 minutes, but those 12 minutes would echo across Mexico and the world forever. In the hours after Valeria Márquez's live stream went dark, rumors began to flood social media. Some said it was a jealous ex. Others believed it was a robbery gone wrong. But whispers kept returning to one name. LRR. His real name? Ricardo Ruiz Velasco. But to authorities, to journalists, and to an entire underworld of organized crime, he was known only as LRR. A rumored high-ranking figure in the Jalisco New Generation cartel. A name often associated with blood, power, and paranoia. But who was he before the nickname? Who was Ricardo Velasco? And how did his name become linked with the woman who only wanted to make others feel beautiful? He was born and raised not far from where Valeria opened her salon. Middle child. Troubled student. Known to be charismatic, but volatile. According to former classmates, he had charm, the kind that makes people follow without asking why. But behind it there was always a short fuse. And a taste for danger. By the time he was 18, Ricardo was already rumored to be running local operations for an unnamed group. By 25, he'd vanished from public view. When he returned, he came back with power, with protection, with something darker behind his eyes. Online, his image had been curated. Stylized posts, expensive shoes, lounges, cryptic captions. Never too specific, but always suggestive. Some say he liked the mystery. Others believe he wanted to be feared without ever lifting a finger. But one rumor stood out among the rest. That Ricardo had once been obsessed with a girl on TikTok. In the months before her death, Valeria had mentioned receiving strange DMs. She laughed them off at first. Gifts sent without return addresses. Flowers. Notes. Even expensive makeup kits delivered without explanation. Nothing overtly threatening. But something was off. Some messages were charming. Others, possessive. Don't ever go live without telling me. You're mine. You just don't know it yet. No one else sees you the way I do. These weren't fan messages. They were warnings. Wrapped in affection. Laced with control. Whether or not Valeria knew who was behind them remains unclear. There's no confirmation that she ever met him in person. But by the time her salon had become popular, he may have already been watching. Law enforcement later named Ricardo Velasco as a person of interest. Not just for Valeria's case, but in dozens of unsolved incidents stretching across the region. Yet his digital footprint was minimal. His movements untraceable. And still, whispers continued. The internet did what it does best. Within days, amateur sleuths began building a profile. Some insisted there was a romantic link, that Valeria had dated him briefly, unaware of his full identity. Others claimed it was entirely one-sided, that he built a fantasy in his head. One where she was already his. What happens when admiration turns to obsession? When digital boundaries blur? And someone powerful decides that no is not an option? Was Valeria targeted? Because she rejected him? Or because she never even knew him at all? Ricardo Ruiz Velasco remains a key figure in this case. But who he really was, and what he truly wanted from Valeria, still haunts the investigation to this day. How does a connection, born in the glow of a phone screen, grow into something far darker? Something that blurs the lines between love and fear, between admiration and control? According to close friends and whispered rumors, Valeria's and Ricardo's paths first crossed online. A casual follow, a direct message, a comment left unanswered. But soon those digital touches grew heavier, more insistent. The messages began as sweet gestures. Compliments wrapped in emojis, gifts sent anonymously, words that promised protection. But soon, jealousy crept in. Suspicion over every new follower. Anger over every fan's gift. Behind the camera, behind the smiles, a storm was quietly building. Was it a subtle threat? A warning? Or something more dangerous? Friends say Valeria tried to break free. But fear can be invisible. Can be a whisper behind the laughter. A shadow in a crowded room. Was she trapped by affection, by threat, or by something in between? What lengths did she go to protect herself? Were there secret plans to escape? Or was every step shadowed by watchful eyes? In the world of digital fame, vulnerability is often hidden behind filters and followers. But the line between love and control is thinner than anyone realized. A relationship built on admiration that turned into a cage. A story of a young woman caught between the spotlight and shadows, between desire and fear. What drove Ricardo Ruiz Velasco, known as El Doble RR, to cross a line that no one could ignore? Was it a crime of passion? Or something far more calculated, a message sent in blood? Jealousy? Control? Perhaps rage over losing the grip he once had. Messages recovered by police reveal a man consumed by suspicion. But were these personal demons, or a mask for something darker? Some investigators whisper of cartel involvement. A warning disguised as personal vengeance. Was Valeria an innocent caught in a dangerous power play? Or a target marked for reasons still unclear? Online, theories swirl like wildfire. Some believe this was an act of personal betrayal. A lover's rage turned fatal. Others say it's a statement, a violent declaration of rank in a world ruled by fear. What the police see in the digital trail, and what the public interprets, can sometimes be worlds apart. In a city where power is often hidden in shadows, the true motive may never be fully revealed. But the search for truth is far from over. The news spread like wildfire. A young life full of promise taken too soon. Zapopan came together. Strangers, friends, family, united in grief. On social media, thousands shared memories, their grief mingling with outrage. The hashtag Justicia para Valeria surged, echoing across Latin America. A call for justice, for change, for an end to violence. In the heart of Zapopan, vigils were held. Candles lit to pierce the darkness. Faces illuminated by soft flames. Mourning a girl who once lit up the screen. A family member said, Valeria was a light. She had dreams? And now we carry those dreams with us. Her death sparked a movement. Renewed voices demanding justice, protection, and awareness. The fight against femicide. A battle fought not just in courts but in hearts and minds. Though she is gone, Valeria's story remains. A symbol of resilience, a call to action. Her legacy, etched in every candle lit, every voice raised, every step taken toward change. Valeria Márquez's tragic death was not an isolated incident. In Mexico, femicide, the targeted killing of women because of their gender, has reached alarming levels. Year after year, reports show a steady increase in violence against women. According to official records, thousands of women have lost their lives in similar circumstances. Voices of survivors and activists echo through the streets, demanding change, accountability, and justice. They remind the nation that behind every statistic is a life, a story unfinished. Change is happening. Through protests, legal reforms, and growing awareness. But the road ahead is long and the fight far from over. Valeria's story is a call to recognize the crisis, to demand justice, and to protect future generations. As the investigation unfolds, many questions remain unanswered. Is Ricardo Ruiz Velasco still in custody? Are new developments quietly emerging behind closed doors? Some say Valeria was trying to send a warning, a final message to her followers before tragedy struck. Could hidden videos or unreleased messages shed light on what really happened? Digital forensics continue to sift through hours of footage, chats, and data, searching for clues that may rewrite the story. The truth may be closer than we think, or it may forever remain just out of reach. The story isn't over, and the answers might be hidden in the shadows. Valeria Márquez was more than a name on a screen. She was a spark of creativity, courage, and hope. A young woman who dared to dream and inspire others along the way. Her spirit lives on in the hearts of those she touched. Through the smiles she shared, the confidence she sparked, and the dream she refused to let go. Valeria wasn't just an influencer. She was a daughter, a dreamer, a fighter. And her legacy, a reminder that every life matters, every voice counts, and every story deserves to be told. What do you think really happened to Valeria Márquez? We invite you to share your thoughts and theories, always with respect and compassion. If this story moved you, please like, subscribe, and share. Together, we can raise awareness about femicide, domestic violence, and the urgent need for change. If you or someone you know is affected by abuse, help is available. Please reach out to the resources linked below. Thank you for watching, and for standing with us in the fight for justice and safety. Until next time, stay safe and take care.